Hello, good morning. I think it's April 4th. I'm not sure what day it is, but we're rounding out the end of our third week in Massachusetts with our stay-at-home, shelter-in-place, lockdown, pseudo-lockdown, and still plenty of unknown, mystery, uncertainty, and always some sense of relative reliability, relative knowing, relative stability. So that could certainly be the house that you're in, the shelter you have, some external phenomena that offer support. And I'm saying relative support, relative security, because even this stuff is not totally reliable. And while it's available, we can allow it to support us while we're still teetering on that edge of relatively known and relatively not known. And I'll say relatively not known because there is in that relative not knowing some very clear known phenomenon like impermanence, like interconnectedness, and the fact that it's constantly changing and turning. And just a couple days off my husband's mother dying, not of the ubiquitous virus COVID-19, but of other complications related to her MS. Holding that reality, which is far away and we couldn't go, right here where we're at in our hearts, and staying with that very deep sense of presence and meeting this moment but having no real control. And acknowledging that, I think, is helpful. It's comforting. Strangely, paradoxically comforting. And so working with, in this morning's practice, variables of known, letting known variables, relatively known variables support us, and then moving into places where there will be some mystery, some unknowns, some unfamiliar moves, probably for many of you, and then just watching what the mind does with that. Like if you're really sort of hanging on the edge of wanting more or feeling frustrated with not knowing where we're going. And all these little details, I think, point at this big picture around the difficulty of life, the constant changing of life, and when we get pained, when it hurts. This is noticing, and I think this is a really simple, fundamental truth, noticing that when we're bummed about things, when we're sad, hurt, mad, devastated, it's simply that the world isn't as we thought it was. Such a simple, delicate truth. The world is not as we think it is. So holding that big mystery, we'll go into practice. And for this morning's practice, I recommend having a big space to move in. So no yoga mat for the first part at least, if not for the whole thing. In here I've got about an 8 by 8 square foot area to move around in. We'll probably use a wall. So if you need to relocate where you are in your abode, in your shelter, to find a decent sized space and a wall. If you don't have that much space, you can certainly make do. And if your surface isn't slidey or smooth, you could probably also make do. We're going to spend much time on our feet once we get going. But to start, find a seat. And I recommend you could sit on a block or a folded up blanket and just set it aside when we don't need it. I'm going to start in Virasana on my block. And simply landing your sit bones taking your seat. So the block, if you're using it, is wide, so both your sit bones are clearly on it. And before you do a bunch of manual rearranging and manipulating of your seat, first just drop your sit bones and land. Just be right here. And if you can find your sit bones supporting you, put your brain right sit bone, left bone, and try to look for the feeling of symmetry in the two sit bones. I'm more on the front edge of mine, so I'm going to actually roll back. That's not a surprise to me. I'm going to roll back a little bit to find more the center. What might feel like to me is the very center of the sit bone. They're uneven. They're sort of rounded and a little bit bumpy and curvy. And I'm looking for symmetry. And I've got a fair amount, but it feels like my right sit bone is like a little bit more kicked forward and out. So with the musculature internally, pelvic floor muscles, deep and shallow belly muscles, can you reorganize the sit bones from inside by reorganizing how the muscles deep in the pelvis are meeting each other? And if you can't get symmetrical by simply working with the internal muscles, then use your hand and manually adjust whatever you need to do. And from the presence, ideally symmetrical on the block, with your awareness, find your way from where the sit bones meet the block into the pelvic bowl. So the back of the inner surface of the pelvic bowl, like the front of your sacrum, the anterior portion of your sacroiliac joints. Can you find your way there? So you're like sitting inside the pelvic bowl, maybe with the back of your awareness up against your sacrum, and feeling for the presence of front of spine, starting from sacrum. Front of spine, where the vertebral bodies live. So in front of your spinal cord, in the spinal column, in the big, rounded, and flat-bodied surfaces of the vertebra. So back deep in the midline of your body, and feel for, or live into, breathe into the way the back body wraps from your spine out to the sides like two halves of a leaf, if the spine were the stem of the leaf. And then the way that back body flesh curves around to the sides and then makes the front of you. And maybe from that front surface seam, dive awareness back into the vertebral bodies again. So it's a lot of words to say sit in the depth of your torso, from tail to say tonsils, deep in the front body. Pardon my sneeze, I just allergies. And from your seat, deep in the front body or deep in the back body, however you can relate to it, can you feel the movement of breath? So deep in your breathing, if that helps. And for me, the inhale sort of brings the deep center a little bit forward and up. She wants in, the cat wants in, she can't come in. And the exhales drop my deep center back and down. So for me, and the story of yoga says, the inhales are sort of expansive and upward and outward moving. And the exhales are condensing and downward and inward moving. So can you explore that suggestion from the perspective of deep inside your spine? So for me, the exhales in the Story of Yoga says are rooting, grounding. And the inhales are expansive and uplifting. So where do you need to land your efforts, right? Springtime is here. And that's why we're going to be working with deep roots in the legs, grounding, and then in support of that, ideally, this growth up and out. So 1 or 2 more moments here with embodying those notions or exploring the possibility to embody those notions, sitting and breathing. Presence, ground, roots. Presence with expansion and reach. Balanced. And balance doesn't have to mean for you 50-50. Although if you're in a balanced state, it will. But you might need to lean into one or the other of the two basic phenomenon to bring balance. I invite you to start to let the hairline gently pour forward like a little bowing of the head to the heart, curling the head and neck down, and let the heart then bow to the belly as you curl down, and let the belly then bow to the legs as everything curls down. And using your hand to remove your support while you're down there, set it aside and come to lay on your back. Come to lay on your back in what might seem like an X shape. Arms up and out, legs down and out. If you feel or relate to the idea of having 4 limbs, 2 arms, 2 legs, then it's an X. But I come from the paradigm of 6 limbs, head and tail included. So then for me it's a star shape. Can you still connect with the deep front of sacrum, vertebral bodies, behind the heart, behind the vocal cords, behind the tongue and tonsils? And feel the soft undulation from the center, say behind the navel or behind the bladder, just in front of the upper part of the sacrum, lowest part of your lumbar. It's a hot spot of a different sort. The home, first, second chakra, called the hara in Japanese and Chinese medicine. A source of strength. It's also our physiological center. So stay present there if you can with your mind and allow some sense of pulsation from there with your breath to ripple out. And then rebound back in. So the inhales go from navel to periphery. And the exhales from periphery to navel. All the limbs from navel to periphery, including head and tail, feeling the ripple of the inhale spreading out, and all the limbs, head to tail, hands and legs, rippling from periphery to center on the exhale. And that rebounding in from periphery to navel might feel strong enough that you feel compelled to pull the limbs in from the navel now and curl into baby ball on your back. And then with the inhale from the navel back out to the periphery to reach back into your star. So the exhale from navel pulling you in. Inhale from navel, expanding you back out. It's actually not that easy. If you're really following the pathways from center to periphery pulling in, and from center to periphery going out. As we move through space now, if you stay flat on the floor, it's a little different. One more. Or if you love it, do lots more. I'm going to land back in my star now. Organize the arm and leg limbs so the toes point up and the palms face each other. So pinky blade faces up. And with your next inhale, sweep the left arm and left leg over to the right, and you'll actually reach the head and tail to the right. So it's a little side bendy back move, supine move, side bending. I teach it a lot. Some of you know it. Next inhale, open back to the star. Stay in the star, breathe out. Inhale, right side reaches, bends, sweeps over to left, couple of breaths. So it's a hugging, it's a squeezing right to left, not hooking or crossing over. So use the power of adduction to open that right side. Let's exhale back to the star. Inhale, left to right. Exhale to star. Inhale, right over to left. Try to keep pelvis flat. Don't let the hips peel up at all. So very flat to the floor. Exhale, back to star. Inhale, left to right. Pause. Bending the shortening side leg. That's the right leg. Foot on floor. Push with that foot to roll and let the head go last. So like it's a little back bendy action to twist and roll onto your left side. Pause when you're on your left side. Your left leg is a little bit behind you now because of the shape we were just in. And right knee's pointing to the ceiling. So a lot of engagement, outer right leg, right bum, right side. Keep that. Bend your left knee, slide it on the floor in front of you so the two knees are quite separated. In fact, drawing left knee towards left armpit gently, don't force it, and still reaching right knee away from you. A lot of contrast between the two knees, but now riding the inner edge of your right foot, start to tip your right knee towards the floor, actually towards your, somewhat towards your left heel, and squeeze it adducted against the floor. You could let your head roll off your left arm. And then when you're ready, I'm enjoying the feeling of strength I'm getting in my inner right leg and length in my outer right leg. But I'm ready to move on. So stacking right knee on left knee. So you just slide that right knee up. Keep it there as you roll right shoulder to the floor behind you. So here you are in a supine twist. Extending right knee straight out to the left. So right foot is reaching over the body to the left, opposite that right arm. Big breath in here. And as you exhale, invite the right knee to bend towards your own right chest. And then eventually picking up that left knee, baby ball on your back. And then extend back into your star. Full breath. Sweeping right limbs, head and tail over to the left. With the exhale, bend left foot, bend left knee, left foot to floor, and push with that foot to roll onto your right side. Head lands on right arm. Keep the pseudo now back bend through the body because the right leg's behind you. Left knee pointing to sky. Squeezing left leg back. So getting that firmness, that gathering of the outer left leg, left bum, left lumbar, sideways. And then exhale, draw right knee slowly up towards the space in front of you. So it's basically flexing the right hip. Like we've cleared the way. So as you tip left knee towards floor, in theory, that left knee is like straight down from the hip. So the hip is not in extension necessarily, but maybe neutral, maybe some extension. And squeezing left knee towards floor. Again, I enjoy the sensation. It feels helpful to me. Modify it as you need to. I think I might have to let the cat in. With an exhale, when you're ready, invite left knee to stack on the right knee. And then roll left shoulder, left side ribs back, unfurl left arm, extend left leg over to the right. So this extended, sort of teeter-tottery, supine twist. And then draw left knee with the power of the leg towards left shoulder and let that invite the right knee into baby ball on your back. And as you're ready, star shape. Same beginning, different ending. Squeeze left side to right. Bend right knee, right foot on floor. Push onto your left side. Head lands on left arm. Right knee stays pointing to ceiling. Once again, flex at the left hip and draw the left knee towards your face some. And then keeping the right leg on the trajectory that it is. The hips are turned open, right? And can you stretch that right leg long, back on that diagonal? Knee in theory is pointing to ceiling. Toes in theory are pointing to ceiling. But it's a twist, right? So the hips are turned open, but you're twisting that upper body. Reach through the right arm. So now right leg, right arm have like a diagonal relationship, reaching, reaching, reaching. Let the leg win. Let the right leg win and simply pull you back into your star as you stretch the left leg long. She can come in. And then inhale, right side limbs, head and tail over to the left. Bend left knee, left foot on floor. Push yourself onto your right side. Right arm is a pillow. Left knee still points to the ceiling. Keep left knee pointing to ceiling. Bend right knee, flexing at the hip. Bring that leg closer to your belly. And then the right leg on that same diagonal trajectory. Reach the left arm opposite it and stretch the left leg straight. So the pelvis is turned open. The legs are abducted. They're abducted away from each other. The legs are. And then you've got this left side diagonal reachy thing. Maybe inviting some space and spread in the left kidney. And then let the left leg win. Left leg wins and pulls you back into star shape. Breath or two, continuing on. Left side squeeze, same beginning, different ending. Left side squeezes to right side. Bend right knee, right foot on floor. Roll yourself onto your left side. Left arm is a pillow. Right knee pointing up. Bend left knee and hip. And then re-straightening right leg again on that open diagonal. Right arm is wrapped across the body. So another twisty move. We were just here. Now, adducting the legs. You could also say like internally rotating right leg to come more onto the left side. Right leg is still now extended behind, but it's more like a warrior one pose, more like a lunge. Reach right arm, right leg, perfect opposition, sideline lunge shape. And then here again, a little bit different, so not again actually. Sweep your straight right arm towards the left hand, so alongside your face as you reach your straight right leg perfectly opposite down from your hips. And then swing the arm back and the leg forward. So we're back in the supine twist that we were just in. Big breath in and a twist. Exhale, right knee comes back towards right shoulder to gather yourself up into baby ball on your back. And then star. Right side squeezes over to left side on the inhale. Bend left knee, left foot on floor. Push yourself through a twisty, rolly back bend onto your right side. Right arm is a pillow. Keep left knee bent. Bend right knee up towards belly, and then keeping hips open, straighten left leg just like before. Extend left arm as a perfect oppositional reach, and then roll that left hip into adduction. Roll that left leg into neutral rotation. So now it's like side lying lunge with a tiny twist. Reach left arm and left leg, full expansion through left side on the spiral. And then as you sweep, leg more like due south and arm more like due north, like a compass needle, borrowing a little bit from Thomas Hanna here, and then twisting, left arm behind, left leg in front. This time, in the act of rolling onto baby ball on your back, you could choose to roll onto like a half boat. So you rock up onto the back of your sacrum. And then from half boat, I'm curious about, can you keep arms, legs, head and tail mostly off the floor and start to roll onto your side? Depends on how much room you have to roll. Back onto your sacrum to the other side. So it's going to be easier if you have more room, because I'm interested in being able to do like a complete roll onto side, bring my ribs down, and then if you got room onto your belly like a locust, and then back. So sweeping one arm forward to roll back onto that side, and then into your half boat. Is that easy? And then onto the other side. I got a kitty over here. And then onto your belly. So I call these rolling boats. You can call them rolling locusts, just torso rolling. From locust to half boat to locust. One more time. Each direction. You could simply hold your boat. Last time, other direction. Coming off screen here. And then hands down, toes under, child's pose. And in your child's pose, let yourself get quiet. You could have arms straight in front of you or arms folded under you or straight back alongside you. Just let yourself fold up like a little piece of origami. A little micro hibernation, a little micro momentary cocoon. Next exhale, hands under shoulders, down dog, and I'm going to continue to go mat free. We're going to move around, so if you do grab a mat, you're going to probably get annoyed because I'm going to not be on it. But if you need a mat, get it and just modify. So in your down dog, do some squiggling about. Whatever sliding of the hips or turning of the feet or bending of the knees.
and begin to walk the feet wider apart, so like wide-legged dog. I like to drop in knee bends in the wide-legged because I get a lot of feedback up my outer shins, gallbladder meridian, which is right in my line of balancing needs. So slowly beginning with your wide legs, wide-legged dog, begin to bring your hands slowly back towards you, but move through this alternating knee bends. I teach this pretty regularly, and you can either do straight legs and bend one knee at a time, which is what I'm actually doing here, or what I most often do is bent knees and then straightening one leg at a time. So it has a pulling action that's possible for the legs, for the straight leg to pull itself back into a bent shape and to pull the other leg into a straight, versus the straight legs just pushing into a rather, just sort of bending one knee at a time and letting it sort of be like bobbing up in the air versus sort of sliding low to the earth. You pick today. And then with hands right under shoulders, I'm going to turn to face you guys. With hands right under shoulders, go ahead and bending the left knee, turn the right leg out. We did this the other day. And grab the floor with that right foot and start to bend the knee. But most of the weight's clearly on the left leg here. And if you peek at the right foot, can you get more of the outer foot to the floor? Big toe mound is for sure on the ground, but outer foot to the floor. And as you bend into that right knee, aim the knee to go right over in line with the toes. And once your weight is over that right knee, pause, keep your hands where they are, kick the left heel a little to the left. So now in theory it's warrior legs with a flexion at the hips. Hands are right underneath your shoulders. Keep stomping that right foot down and lift the low belly up. Slowly walking the hands towards the right foot, both of them. So you're going to point all 10 fingers on the top of your head towards your right foot, but can you now keep putting more weight in your outer left foot? Move your tail under you so the hips are turned open. We sort of did a version of this on the floor. So legs abducted, even though you're bringing torso to right leg. And then catch right hand on right ankle. Left hand to left hip. And slowly, actually don't do anything yet, but reach your left arm along the side of your body, palm facing down. Reach that left arm so much that it pulls that right leg straight towards triangle legs. Torso's turned open now, side bending. Pause here. Can you find that pathway from the front of your sacrum, along the front of your spine, to your tonsils? And if the answer is yes, then it should not be a big deal when you sweep your left arm up to look at your hand. If you have a pathway through the front of your spine from your tail to your tonsils, and then to keep sweeping that left arm all the way overhead along the side of your head as you watch the hand, then it's like neck extension with rotation. Now squeeze that right bum and sit bone under. Pure side stretching. One more moment here. As you look down, bend right knee. Bring left hand down. Both hands down. Just like where we were a minute ago, keep legs in warrior two. Walk your hands back to the center. Bend left, straighten right knee, swing right toes, round to the front. Put weight in the right foot, swing left toes to the left. Keep weight in the right foot as you start to bend the left knee. Really clear about the outer left foot being on the floor. Big toe mound being on the floor. So you're trying to turn the whole leg open. And then straightening right leg, kicking right heel to the right. So warrior 2 legs. This is the short story. Cat pose to get left sit bone under you, to drop your tail straight down. And then slowly walk the hands and the head over to the left, but keep turning the pelvis open. So as your head and your fingertips point in the direction of your left toes, you're really turning the pelvis away from the right shoulder. So there's a twist here like we were doing on the floor. Left hand grabs left ankle, right arm along the side of the body, reaching to the right so strongly that the reach of that right arm actually pull your left leg straight. So now it's like Trikonasana. Pause. Find an exhale and soften the front body towards the back. Find the pathway through the front of your spine so you have a better chance of staying connected in your neck when you reach the right arm up and look up. Follow the hand with your eyes as you sweep the arm all the way overhead. So your neck is extending and rotating. And as you bring the right hand down, bend into the left knee, look at the hand as it goes. Both hands to the inside of the left foot. Give your kitty cat a kiss. And then walk your, keep your warrior 2 legs, walk your hands back to the center. And then return, left toes to point straight ahead, soften both knees. And come rolling on up, wide-legged. I'm gonna back up. Hands can either be on hips or interlaced behind you, or interlaced behind head, or whatever you want to do with your arms. I'm going to start with hands interlaced behind me. So it's a wide, knee soft stance. Swing your 2 heels in some. So you've got maybe 90-degree or greater angle between the toes and the knees. And then from here, having your legs just wide enough apart. Shins are more or less vertical. Mine are a little not quite vertical, but my knees feel fine. No pain in the knees, so it's like horse stance. Now be careful with this next move. I know someone who torqued their knee a little bit doing it. I wasn't there. I have no idea what they were doing, but go slow. Be mindful. Don't do anything that hurts. Can you lift the left heel and pivot on the ball mound of the left toes to go to internal rotation? Bring the left hip around. So now you're in that knee drop lunge. Lean the torso forward as you straighten your back leg. That's gonna feel good. And then while all the weight's piled on the right foot, can you externally rotate left leg and drop that heel back down? Let it pull you to center. Lift right heel. Rotate on the ball mound. That leg goes from external to internal. Lean forward with the torso, straighten the back leg. Weight clearly over the front leg, and then externally rotate the right leg, let it pull you back to center. And again, left side. And again, right side. Straighten your 2 legs from the 10 toes straight ahead. Step or hop your feet right together. Swing your 2 arms up, hook your 2 thumbs. Stretch up through your fingers like you're trying to touch the ceiling. Find the front of your spine from tonsils to the front of your sacrum and soften that back. So much so it's easy to bring your face up and your gaze up and look behind the back of your hands and mark a spot on the ceiling with your eyes as well as your fingers and rise up, tiptoes. Looking up if you can. Look for one pure line from throat
to, say, pelvic floor, just in front of the deep spine, and reach up through it. And as you land, as if arms could stay there, bend your knees, gaze forward. Utkatasana. And then hands to prayer, and then step or hop your feet wide apart again. Externally rotate your legs. And then I'm curious if from here, you can put weight into your right foot, keep your knees bent, and step your left foot to your right foot. So now you're in Utkatasana, just facing the right leg. All the weight in the right leg, free up the left, externally rotate it, and then step it back to the left. Knees stay soft, back in your horse stance. Shift weight to left, bring right leg all the way over to it. Stand on your both feet, you can take your arms up, then all the weight in the left, externally rotate the right, and then step it over to the right, back in your horse stance. Adding on, this time, turning towards right, left leg goes to eagle. Do whatever you want with your arms. Could do eagle arms, could do something else. Squeeze and sit down. Unwrap, don't touch the floor if you can. Externally rotate, left leg, step to the left. Right leg turns in, floats up into eagle. Eagle legs, whatever you want to do with your arms. Stay gathered to the left, unwrap, right foot doesn't touch the floor, externally rotate, and step out to the right. Horse stance. 10 toes straight ahead, step or hop, legs right together. Catch a block. I'm going to face the side, and standing on the block, one leg. I'm going to pick my right leg. Block is lengthwise with the foot. For sure get your heel on it, right? Your toes might hang off. And then stand tall on the right leg like you're standing on both legs in terms of you're really lifted out of the hip, you're tall through your spine, your two hips are level, the left foot is dangling. Let the left leg relax for the moment, So just check that out, standing tall on your right side. I teach this on occasion. This is actually part of the Piriformis class, I think, or maybe the QL class that I offered a couple weeks ago. Really, really tall, strong in the right, relaxed in the left. One more breath. Maybe arms go up if you wish. Try to get a little bit more length up and out from that deep root of the right leg. When you step down, be real ginger, be real delicate, be real careful. Weight in both feet, bend down, grab the block, put it between your knees. Squeeze it, lift it up. Take the arms up. This time if hands can go into prayer, great. Find that deep front. And from that deep front of sacrum to tonsils, maybe you can look up at your thumbnails. And then one more time, perhaps looking up, tiptoes, block squeeze, upward dive into the ether, through your ceiling, through the rafters. And then chair pose, heels down, chair pose. Catch the block, put it on the ground, step on it with your left leg. So simply getting the sense of standing strong on one leg without having to do anything with the other leg yet. So the right leg dangles.
You don't have to flex the foot or hold it like as if you were standing on it, but stand clearly on the left leg. Notice if one is shakier, less stable than the other. If they feel dramatically different, like you're working dramatically differently, right to left, could be because they're different shapes. Certainly also very likely that it's just different somatic habits and patterns. Reaching up, arms up, so much that it makes the landing on the right foot easier. Gentle, gentle. This time, block between knees, but keep torso down. Squeeze legs together. If you need another block to touch the floor, grab it. But Uttanasana here. So try to tractor beam the block up into your belly as you plunge and root the heels down. Toes are free, but they don't have to lift. They're certainly better off not pinched up though. And then if you can plunge your hands down, almost like you're holding the floor down, almost like you're helping your feet with your hands. Feet don't have to do all the work. And you reach top of head down to floor. Navel to tail, tail to ceiling, but the flow of the sit bones, if you can work it all out, is down towards your legs. Tail and sit bones have independence. They have autonomy from each other. In theory, it's entirely possible and preferable. So now from here, release the block, put it on the ground again. Roll on up. Same beginning, different ending. Stand on the block with your right leg. And then from here, brain in your left foot. Can you curl your toes under? So it's toe flexion, it's foot flexion. But then dorsiflexion of the ankle. So like if you see my foot, it's like toe knuckles towards the face, heel down. It's not a common thing to do in yoga, but it's a really common thing that we did as babies, as humans. It's a human thing, should be a yoga thing. And then use that flexion of the foot, dorsiflexion of the ankle, to pull the whole knee up, leg up, don't grab it. But now from the toes, point those toes straight ahead and shoot that leg straight out in front of you. And then straight legs, slowly press the leg down towards the floor. And from the toe tips again now, can you keep the plantar flexion, bend at the knee, and try to touch your own butt cheek with your own left heel. And as you swing the knee forward, dorsiflex the ankle. We're back to where we started. Shoot the leg forward. From toe tips, shoot the leg forward. Plantar flexion, swing leg down, gather the back of the leg, try to touch your own butt. And then if you dorsiflex the ankle, pull the knee up, as high up as it can go. Big contrast between right foot and left knee. Deep navel, toe tips straighten the leg. One more time, sweep the leg down. And from those gathered toe tips, sole of foot, calf muscle, back of knee, hamstring, and then step down. My standing leg got more tired than my working leg. I'm going to turn around. Bend down, put the block just between your ankle bones. Make it so you can see. So the block sort of teetering just between your ankle bones. And from there, keep the block, lift heels, lower heels, bend knees, straighten legs, lift heels, lower heels, bend knee. So like I call it merry-go-round asana, bobbing up and down. Keep your spine perfectly vertical, just sort of cleansing the palate here. And if you're dying for a vinyasa, take it. I'm just staying off my arms, trying to get the energy down. Second side. On the block with your left, right leg dangling, super straight, long. From like the deep arch of the foot, maybe. pull the toe knuckles towards you, dorsiflex the foot. Let that bring the whole leg up and stomp down on that left leg. From the toe tips now, point the toes, stretch the leg forward, and then like you're pushing a wave back with the leg and then curl it up behind you. You might get a hamstring cramp. And then dorsiflex the ankle, let that pull the knee up. Toe tips point, reach leg long. Sweep the leg down and back and curl it up. And then from the arch of the foot, pull it back into dorsiflexion. We got one more. Sound effects are optional. Step down, bend down, maybe a down dog if you need it, maybe both dogs. I'm taking a down dog. This time I'm putting block between knees and my down dog. Squeezing, squeezing, opening backs of legs, lifting, lowering heels, whatever you need here. We certainly go through both dogs. We're gonna meet standing on our block again on the right leg. So adding on, same beginning, different ending, I think. So from the foot flexion, toe flexion, dorsiflexion, pull it up. From the toe tips, extend the leg out. And as you swing the leg down and gather the back of the leg from the toes to the sit bone, catch the foot from the inside. So chest is open, shoulders open, palm is facing the arch of the foot. You're ready for dancer on a block. Kick, kick, kick the left foot into the left hand. So it's edgy because you're on a block, among other reasons. So nice and slow, right? Before you go any further, can you reestablish or have you continued the connection from front of sacrum to tonsils? Even if you don't have the tonsils anymore, the energy's still there. And with the gesture of kicking into the hand, with the gesture of the left foot leaning more and more and more into the hand, let that simply bring a soft opening to the front of the bod without losing that deep connection. So it's not your biggest dancer by any means, although it might be. I'm switching sides. Gonna simply stand with 2 feet on the floor, maybe a soft merry-go-round asana to cleanse the palate. Something in the middle. Could be a little standing vinyasa, little body wave, arm circle, standing on block, left leg. Deep foot flexion pulls right knee up. Toes pointing, extend leg out. And then sweep, sweep back, gather the back of the leg from the toes to the sit bone, and you brought it right up to your hand in theory. In theory, you didn't have to bend over to catch your foot from behind. Right shoulder's open. Palm of the right hand is facing right, facing the arch of that right foot. Left arm up. Right foot is like leaning into the support of right hand. Right foot's like, I love you. I just want to push, lean, fall into you. And let that gently open front body. You can still reach up through the tonsils. You can still feel the wrapping of back flesh to side, to front, to deep front. And just gentle, steady, committed, kicking back behind you. This actually can represent this leaning into the unknown, this leaning into the darkness. We don't see what's behind us. We don't know what's back there in this moment. I mean, on a certain level you do. But on the grand level, no one knows. Kick and reach, kick and reach, kick and reach. And then when you're ready, come on undone. I'm just going to kick my block out of the way. Simply stand. Here's where the wall comes in. You might want your blocks in front of you. And having the wall behind you, start about 3-ish feet away from the wall. We're going to grow it bigger if it's appropriate. It probably will be appropriate. So you could do hands in prayer. I'm going to do similar action with the hands that we did with the feet. And this stuff comes from, developmental theory. So that thing with the foot, and I'll give you a close-up of it. Toe flexion, foot flexion, dorsiflexion. We do this a lot in yoga. We do this a lot in yoga. We do that a lot in yoga. Not so much this. It's a thing we did as babies. And then the hand thing, flexing fingers, hands, and wrists with pronation. So I'm going to be doing this with my hands, so you can do whatever. Walls about 3 feet behind you. Stand on your right. And then foot flexion, palmar flexion, spinal flexion. So you can bend down and sort of see behind you. Can you reach your left leg back? Can you place your left foot down in a lunge? Heel on the wall. I'm straightening right leg, both legs are straight. Swing arms up, and then bending into right knee. Don't take the knee past the heel here until you're ready to bring everything forward and step your left foot forward again. Same thing, right foot. Bend down, curl down, focus, see the wall behind you, and can you reach the right leg all the way to it, land toes in front of it, and heel on it. Baby lunge. Straighten your left leg as you sweep arms up. Bend into left knee, and then pull everything in and forward again. So that was easy. That was an easy reach for me. I'm going to take another foot length step forward. It's going to get harder the further we get from the wall. It's going to get edgier, reaching back and stepping forward. Don't do anything that hurts. If you've got knee pinching or knee problems, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, he's an old boy. Come lay down, Ozzy. Come lay down. He slipped. Lay down. So we're further from the wall. Okay, sorry for the distraction. Left foot comes in, curl everything in, and then bend down, right knee bends. I'm watching myself reach as far back as I can to touch the wall. Straighten right leg as you come up. Swing arms up as you bend into right knee. Don't take knee past toes. Front of spine integration. Pull everything back to where you started. Right leg steps. Torso up, straighten left leg. As arms go up, bend into your lunge, and then navel, and left leg pulls everything back in. Again, that was pretty easy for me. I'm taking one more foot length step forward. This is probably my max. You decide, left foot up, pull everything in, and reach that left leg back like a tendril. Watch it go. You might have to reach forward here. Oh, I'm a little too far off the wall. So, using my hands to back up. So I'm in like my full biggest lunge. Full biggest lunge. Which will make the stepping forward significantly more challenging. So you adapt to the size of lunge you can successfully reach out of to touch the wall. Reach up from to grow and extend through the hip, and to then pull yourself back into without having to hop or dance around. Back on my first side. Suspending in space, looking for the foot drop, looking for the stability, looking for the roots to support the growth. Second side.
more time each side, right and left. Is it getting easier? If no, that's okay. It's all fuel for the journey. Last one. So the hand and foot action ideally pull you very much into your center, into that physiological center of the body. You can grow from there. It's like navel radiating out and then back in. Pausing. Step or hop your feet wide apart. Hands on hips if you choose. Pin elbows back. Ball mound of left foot to lift the heel. Spin the left leg into internal rotation, not a lot. Drop the heel, so it's starting to turn the body to the right. Pick up right heel, swing it under, and then organize yourself to face the right leg. Left hip is turning towards right foot, even though the left toes are pointing a little bit out. From hands on hips, I'm going to catch opposite elbows behind me. You could do reverse namaskara hands if you know that move. Now I've lost the front of my spine, maybe you can see it. So I'm going to find it again. And as you start to bend forward, side bodies wrap forward, front of spine deepens. Bend into the right knee somewhat. Some of you, everyone, bend into the right knee. Pause here. Torso trying to get to parallel. There will be a little fishtailing where the head wants to swing left and the butt wants to swing right. Don't let that happen. Hone in right over that leg line. And then what's it like to straighten the right leg from the idea of the right low belly diving back and the right sit bone swinging forward? Now here's where blocks might come in handy as we bring our hands down to the floor. For Parsvottanasana. Keep taking low belly back on the right side. Keep feeding left hip point forward and down. And right sit bone follows the right leg. On your way up, with hands on hips, before you get up too far, bend the right knee. Virabhadrasana 1. Linger here for as long as you wish. Build as much of a spinal extension as you wish, and if you can find the front of your spine and you take your arms up, can you look behind your hands at your thumbs again? And similar to what we were doing coming off the wall, step left foot to right foot. Oh, before you touch the floor, stand up. Step left leg to the left. Wide-legged stance. Lift the right heel on the ball mound to the right foot. Internally rotate your right leg. Turn right hip to left toes and then pick up left heel and swing that left heel under you. Turn to face your left leg. Same thing, other side. Right hip turns forward. Find the front of your spine. Bring it with you as you bend forward from the hips. Soften left knee. Torso parallel to floor. Blocks are helpful. You may have to go back and get them. If you don't need blocks, hands just touch floor
And then can you straighten the left leg by way of deepening the left low belly back? Think ovary, think vas deferens, moving back as the sit bone goes forward. And slowly, gently, lovingly bow to your left leg. The whole left leg, full prostration to your left leg. Thank you, left leg. Don't fishtail, so keep hugging left hip into right hip. And keep inviting both sides of the neck and side ribs and side waist to keep cascading down, following the reach of the heart, the reach of your tonsils. Belly keeps deepening back. When you're ready, it's a combo. It's a combination of left knee bending, torso lifting, and hands on hips. I'm not going there yet, but here in a second I am. So it's like, can the hands come up, and can the knee bend, the torso come up, and keep the left knee bent. Build the torso vertically, warrior one, and maybe you party with a reach, growing from your strong roots, growing your branches, your flowers, your gifts up. And everything comes together. Mountain pose. Hiya. I think this is a good time to go to the floor. You could be like, yeah, namaste, see ya. But grab your mat. And I think I failed to say in the beginning that a couple of blankets will be helpful. So get those now. And this is for bridge pose and shoulder stand. So if you don't have a shoulder stand practice, you know, from the lens of yoga, it's a good time of year to do shoulder stand, not only because it suggested that it really builds heart and lung strength. You know, most of these claims have not been tested by any science, but experientially I found it to be true, and I've been at this a while, and I think there's legitimacy to it. So springtime, new growth, purification, and especially in the time of COVID-19, thought to be a good immune boosting pose. When we go upside down, the rooting of the legs has to root up. So it's another paradox. That earth power, stability, and strength in the legs gets turned upside down. And that's part of what keeps us stable, even in this completely different perspective, upside down. So 2 blankets, at least, maybe 3. Folded in eighths, so you've got these big rectangles. You can stack them so the smooth end is all on the edge of your mat. Then I like to fold some of the mat over onto the blankets, so the shoulders are going to be here on the soft sliding part of the blankets, and the elbows can be stuck to the mat. Grab one of your blocks and put it right on the edge of the platform, so blocks on floor next to the 2 blankets. You can come to lay back. I'm actually going to slide my setup a little bit this way so it's easier to see. Start with your head and neck completely off the support. And I've got a couple of inches between the tops of my shoulders and the edge of the blanket. Arms down by your side. You won't be able to get palms flat to the floor, but you can touch the floor. So touch the floor and shove gently your shoulders back into the blanket behind you. So there's already a sense of lift in the chest. Keep thumb side of the hands heavy, but then dive the shoulders back. And then with feet under you, in fact, maybe a little further under your pelvis than your knees. So your knees are past your toes here if your knees let you. It's not a crime. It's not inherently wrong. For some people's knees, it can bother them, but it's a totally legit move. And this is where those basic, simplified biomechanic things that are everywhere out there sort of don't allow us to explore our own realities. So make it so your knees don't hurt. Short story. Hips up, shoulders back. I'm going to catch the sides of my mat here and use it to get a little bit more tuck of my shoulders under. I'm not trying to turn them open. I'm just trying to narrow the shoulder blades. And the feet can push into the mat and the hands can pull on the mat. So feet push the mat away, hands just hang on. You got this tension, this tug of war between feet and hands. Use it to send your hips up and hips up and hips up. Now some of you can get your hands under your hips here. Heels of hands under hips. Not everyone can do that. So, those of you who can get heels of hands under hips for this bridge pose, y'all hang out. Right? Those of you who are like, I have no idea how that could happen. Then you're still just using leg strength for bridge pose. What you're going to need to do is to lower your hips down, take your legs up, and then shoot your legs up from there. Catch your back. Those of you who have your hips in your hands, one leg up. Before you do both legs up, you should take the other leg up. So eventually, both legs up, we all shoot our legs up like roots growing into the heavens, and then catch your hands on your back. Shoulders stand. If you have any discomfort, any ear ringing, any hardening of the eyes or tongue or excessive heat in the head, I would just come out. Don't do it. Just take your legs up the wall. Legs up the wall. So while we're here, if you wish, eagle legs. Really squeeze and tangle the eagle legs. Big spiralic braid. Wherever leg flesh touches leg flesh, squeeze. So squeezing together, hugging one thigh on top, hugging the other thigh from underneath, inner shins spiraling. Switch legs. Uttanasana legs, where the soles of the feet are together, the knees are wide. Can you take your tail higher than your pubic bone? Take your tail higher than your pubic bone. Legs straight up. Now, you could just roll, release your hands, bring your feet overhead to like plow, or knees to your forehead and roll yourself down. Roll yourself down. Or if you got some chops, split the legs. One leg over your face, other leg far away. Far away leg, knee bends. Toe like a searchlight, looking for the floor. So some of us are going, we're all maybe going out the way we came in, but we came in different ways. Other leg. And the short story is, if you roll down, you can land your legs on the floor. Land your feet on the floor, knock your knees together, feet wide. Those of you stepping down, maybe you land in your bridge for a moment. And then lower your bum. And knock your knees together, take your feet wide. What I recommend from here is a couple options. You can move the block out from under your bum. Squiggle your body towards your hips so your ribs and your head land on the blankets. And then with soft arms overhead, stretch your legs long, and just finish here with a slight elevation under your chest. Ozzy, go lay down. Go lay down. Or if you want a little more quietude, simply roll off your platform onto your belly and stack your two hands under your forehead. And rest on your stomach. And let all the energy, all the prana, all of the movement, all of the gathering and stretching and reaching and pulling and pushing, let all of that settle. Like you're moving into stillness. And it makes me think of some beautiful words by Eric Schiffman, one of my teachers. He says, moving into stillness is actually his words. And he says, moving into stillness isn't like there's nothing moving. It's not like there's no movement, but there's no struggle. Moving into stillness doesn't mean nothing's moving. It means there's no struggle. So may we all not struggle. May we all not struggle in this time of rest, this time of quietude, this time of simplifying, this time of staying closer to home, less activities. And let your gestures now sort of reinforce some of those intentions. Can you embody now the job that's being asked of us in terms of staying quiet, staying at home? I hope to see you all on Monday. Thank you. I love you. Namaste.